Hello everybody, Raven Knight here. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I hope that you guys got to enjoy the Warriors Den stream. I don't know if I got to watch it with you guys or not. I hope I did, but yeah, I'm recording this a day before the Warriors Den for two reasons. Number one, because we're getting a big winter storm coming on the way, and we don't know if we'll lose power or not, so I'm kind of making this impromptu so that I have this out of the way before that hits, because I don't want to lose power and not be able to get this out there. And two, you're probably thinking, well, Raven, how can you know all this unless... Oh, that's right, guys. I got early access. Isn't that awesome? I'm so glad to have gotten early access for this new hero on the way, the Khatun hero, or the Mongol mommy, as a lot of people are choosing to call her. I'm very honored. Thank you so much, Ubisoft, for giving me early access. I really appreciate it. You don't have to do it. It's a very generous gesture, and it's very much appreciated. So thank you so much. But guys, I do have some bad news, and it's news that I wish I didn't have to give, but it is news that you have to know. I'm not going to be able to make this video as in-depth as I really wanted to, because a couple days ago, my computer just got shot. It just got destroyed. It's dead. I can't use it. And this computer is the computer I use for all my video editing and gaming. So since the early access is only given through PC, I couldn't get on my PC to play much of it after that happened. I got a little bit of the footage. I managed to salvage a little bit of the footage I made, but I didn't get to play as much as I would have liked. I didn't get to play a lot of 4v4s. I really didn't get to do much with this hero, so I'm very disappointed in that. I don't even remember what all the feats do, I'll be real honest with you. But I still wanted to tell you guys my thoughts on this and how excited I am. And, you know, getting early access, I felt I owed it to Ubisoft to at least release something about it. And I want to give a big shout out again to them, again to you guys for your patience with me. More than anything, I'd like to give a big shout out to Havok, my buddy on YouTube, and my buddy as a For Honor content creator. In my opinion, he's the best For Honor content creator out there. But when I told him about my situation and that I couldn't play the game, he offered to give me some footage and get some footage for me to use for the video, which I'm so ever grateful for. Thank you so much, Havok. It means the world to me. I think you'll be able to tell which footage in this video is from me and which one is from him, so I won't even need to explain it. You'll recognize it. But anyway, enough about all that. I've thanked all the people I need to thank. It's enough preamble. Let's go ahead and talk about what y'all want to hear about, the Khatun hero. Now, I don't know what was said on the Warriors Den as of the making of this, and if there's anything new in the Warriors Den that was said that I didn't bring up here, I will, of course, make another video talking about that, or at least bring it up later or put it in the comments section. But I will tell you my thoughts here. So think of this video something as a early thoughts for the hero rather than a full breakdown and analysis. I can do a breakdown and analysis later, or you can check out someone who's much better at that kind of thing, like Havok is, or a Break and Run, or John DeLiner, or Freeze, or any of these other people who understand this method of approaching heroes. It's not my forte. I'm here to talk about the lore. I'm here to talk about how she feels. I'm here to talk about what I liked and disliked. So let's get right into it. Let's go ahead and start off with the obvious things. So we know that she is a Mongol mommy. She is a Mongolian warrior and female gender locked. Go ahead and throw your stones and lose your shit. She is female gender locked. Sorry to all of you who was hoping she wasn't. I personally don't mind. That's all I have to say about it. But hey, if you want to look at this from a historical perspective, there were women in the Mongol steppe who did actually fight. We have records of women who fought and went to battle in Mongolian history, so this isn't entirely unprecedented. This isn't like Varangian Guard, where there were definitely no Varangian Guard women. There were Mongol women who fought, so hey, there is some historical precedence for this. And when I get to my heroes in history on the Khatun, we will go into that. There's also the fact that some of you are saying, Raven, why are you saying Khatun and not Khatun? Well, that's because in the Mongolian language, that K at the beginning is silent, so it's Khatun. So I will be trying to call her Khatun, and I'll try to do the same when I talk about who she's heavily based on, Genghis Khan. And of course, I'm going to probably mess that up at some point because everyone's used to saying Genghis Khan. But I will try to say Genghis Khan or Temujin because that's actually what his real name is, and that is the primary inspiration for this hero. You'll see why in just a minute. But overall, this Mongol woman character feels really awesome. She looks awesome too. Did you see that drip? Did you see the way she looks? I'll tell you what she reminds me of. She reminds me of Warmonger. Think about when Warmonger first came out in Year 4. Doesn't this character feel and look a lot like Warmonger? A very dark, dangerous hero wearing these very scary, almost demonic skull-like masks meant to kind of terrify the enemy and make them feel scared of you, bringing power and... Actually, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We'll get to that when we get to lore. In fact, I'd argue a little bit that the Khatun feel very similar to what Horkos was trying to be, but approaching it in a much more unique and I would say even creative way. But again, we'll get to it. The whole thing behind the Khatun is that they are here in Heathmore ready to bring peace, but at the end of a blade. And I think that is very, very cool. So let's compare that to the warmongers and what Horkos was trying to do, and what Griffin and Chimera is trying to do. So with Horkos, when they hit the scene, Horkos was trying to bring a new order by way of allowing the wolves to rise up. The strong will overpower and dominate the weak, and we will see an order of strength overcoming all. That was what she wanted. Griffin and his Chimera crew wanted peace through unity and companionship and camaraderie and mutual understanding. These two worldviews clashed, and that's what gave us the Chimera versus Horkos war. So how are the Khatun different? The Khatun are not here to make peace through mutual understanding and friendship and compassion, but they're also not here to make sure that the wolves rise up and the strong dominate the weak. No, they're doing this in a much different way. And to understand how they're doing it, you need to take a look at their history. So basically how this all started is in the Mongolian steppe. You know, the Heathmore warriors and soldiers, they all knew about the Mongols, but they didn't really care about them because as far as they were concerned, they're just a bunch of barbaric savages who don't do anything but fight each other all the time. They're locked in endless war. Who would be so dumb as to fight each other endlessly, right? Yeah, don't think about that too hard, guys. You might blow a gasket. Anyway, point is, the Mongolian steppe are at war for a reason, believe it or not. Turns out that way back in the day when Polyon was still around and kicking, she led her Blackstone Legion into the Mongolian steppe and found a bunch of tribes and decimated those tribes, leaving only the strong to survive, much like what she did in Heathmore. And as a result, all these Mongolian steppe warlords and warriors are now fighting each other for control of the steppe in perpetual, endless violence and war. And among those people that she let live, there was one little girl who survived named Gul'jin. Gul'jin grew up in her tribe watching her people slaughter and kill each other. She lost her parents in all the violence. She's witnessed war and destruction on a massive scale, and from all that she came to a conclusion. Mankind, when left on its own, when left to its own devices, when left to do its own thing, will eat itself. They will fall on each other. The sheep will be killed and left by the wayside. The wolves, once they're done with the sheep, will start eating each other, and it never ends. Endless violence, chaos, destruction, and just nothing's good about it. So she decided, mankind can't be trusted to run itself. In order for peace to truly be attained, you need a strong, powerful leader. And well, if no one else is going to do it, she might as well do it. So she rose in power, got stronger, took over her tribe, and systematically began taking down all the other tribes in the steppe, either because they swore their allegiance to her, or if they fought back, she destroyed them and brought the tribe in anyway. She basically brought all the tribes under her control by force. And now she's ready to bring her vengeance down on the woman who made all this chaos happen, Apollyon. Problem is, Apollon's dead and gone. But her disciple, her successor, as it were, Astria, is still around, so that'll have to do. So she is now making her way to Heathmore to break the back of the wolves of Horkos. As she said, wolves and sheep, you're all just untamed animals. I am the shepherd. Her goal is to bring about peace by means of the sword. She's not here to be nice and friendly and, oh, let's understand each other, let's all work together. She ain't doing this the Chimera way. You're joining or you're dying. That's all there is to it. And she will use shock and fear tactics to get it done. She will brutally destroy your town and say, hey, you don't want me to do this to the rest of you? Capitulate. But she's not going to do it the Horkos way either. She's not here to make sure that the strong rule. And no. The strong don't rule. I rule. You're going to do what I say. Now, I don't mind if you want to call yourself strong. You can call yourself strong. You're still bowing to my banner. And in a very cool way, I think that's very, very unique. And she may not like this. If Gul'jin were here to hear this, she'd probably get very upset with me for saying this. She embodies Apollyon in ways that I don't even think Astria does. Think about this for a second. Don't you think that this is almost the way Apollyon wanted things to go down? Because, hear me out on this one. Apollyon, at the end of the day, wanted to create a world where war is the constant. She didn't want the strong to rule the weak. She just wanted the strong to be the only ones who live to keep fighting. Like, the idea of peace is a silly one to her. You gotta have it where, you know, everyone's constantly trying to war with each other, deciding who's on top, because once everything's peaceful and you let the sheep rule, that's the wrong way to do things. That's a backwards way to do things. It makes everyone weak. But in this way, she's not saying, oh, I want the strong to rule and I don't want mutual understanding. We're just going to have it where we're going to use force to make sure that things happen. And in a funny way, that's almost exactly what Apollyon did. Used force to twist things to the way she wanted, which is what, in a funny way, Gul'jin is doing. Now, of course, their outcomes and motives are very different, but Gul'jin is using Apollyon tactics, shock and awe tactics, decimation tactics, basically changing the world by force. And I think that is pretty twisted. In fact, I'd go so far as to say that the Khatun, despite what Gul'jin may want, embody the warmongers in a very, very unique way. What is it about the warmongers that we all recognize? They're warmongers. They want to spread war and violence, and they're going to do it through dangerous, destructive, almost twisted tactics. And the Khatun are doing the same thing. The difference is the Khatun are saying, oh, we're doing it for peaceful reasons. We're doing it to bring about a peaceful regime. You're going to bow to the Han. You either get on your knees and bow to the Han, or we destroy you. And pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We're not here to pretend we're doing anything else. We're just here to say, you do what we say or we're going to destroy you. And I kind of can get behind that. I think that's a really unique way to approach this hero. Now, what I think is also very interesting about this hero is it's very clear that Gul'jin is based heavily on Genghis Khan, or Genghis Khan, because I think that Genghis Khan also went through the same thing as a child. And when we get to the heroes in history, we'll talk more about how Genghis Khan and Gul'jin are very similar in their upbringings, but I think that it is a really neat parallel to see how you have this young girl who witnessed the destruction of her tribe rise up and come to this conclusion that she now has to rule everyone to bring about peace, much like how Genghis Khan went about reunifying the Mongol steppe and then created the giant Mongol empire. Really, really cool stuff. Now, I also do think that many of the Khatun that we see in game and in trailer and how they designed are very, very cool to look at. We see a lot of tie-ins to Mongolian culture, history, and fighting styles. Like in one of the executions, we see wrestling going on, which wrestling was a very common thing in Mongolian culture. We see a lot of horse imagery and symbolism. Horses were very important to Mongolian culture. I knew that we wouldn't have her riding a horse. Like, there's no way you could make that work in For Honor realistically, but horses were very important in the Mongolian history, so I think that that's a really cool tie-in. And the mask, actually, even though I think the masks look cool, you wouldn't really see a whole lot of that in Mongolian society, not at least at the point, the period in time that they're probably looking at. They would be more open face in that regard, which, hey, I don't mind. Again, the masks look really cool, but more to the point, I just think that they look really awesome, their lore is really awesome, and their overall aesthetic is really, really awesome. So far, everything's coming out awesome for this hero. So now the big question is, well, how do they play? How do they fight? Are they good to fight? Are they good to play? Because that's what everyone cares about at the end of the day. Not about how they look or how they appear or their lore. People really want to know, are they fun? And at the end of the day, I would say yes. Now, I will once again preface, I didn't get to play them as much as I would like due to the aforementioned PC issues, but I will take this moment to talk to you a little bit about how I felt she played. If I could describe Khatun's abilities in 3 parts, it is her 3 major capabilities that make her stand out. The first capability that I really like is her soft feint capability. This hero is very much a soft feint specialist. Think a lot about how Aramusha, in their finishing heavy attack, can soft feint it into a light from a different direction, or into a ring the bell where they bonk you on the face. She can pretty much do the same thing, but with almost any heavy. Any heavy that she throws, she can soft feint into a light from another direction, a heavy from another direction, a kick, which guarantees a light, or into a forward dodge dash, which, it's a unique dash, actually. It's a dash that actually has some interesting properties, and we'll get into that in just a minute. It's called Fear and Fury, but we'll get to that in just a minute. I think that her soft feint capability is really special, and I think it fits very much, because when I think about a Mongolian warrior, I don't think about a huge tank. I think about a warrior with a lot of style and grace and capability, and soft feinting, I feel like, is a very unique way to show that style and grace. Though I will admit, at times when I played her, she felt a little bit clunky. She felt a little bit slow, in my opinion, but maybe that was just me and my really weird PC specs. But regardless of that, that's what I felt at the time. The soft feinting capability is really neat, and actually threw me off a few times because I wasn't expecting all the different ways that she could soft feint her attacks. Like I said, from a heavy, she can go into another heavy from another direction, another light from another direction, a kick which guarantees a light, or her Fear and Fury attack. Now let's go ahead and talk about her Fear and Fury. So what does that look like? Fear and Fury is a technique where she dashes forward, but it's so much more than that. First of all, you can get access to Fear and Fury by either soft fainting into it, performing it at the end of any attack combo. So if you throw a light, you can go into it, throw a heavy, you can go into it, throw a zone, you can go into it. Essentially, you can follow up almost any attack with Fear and Fury. Fear and Fury then allows you to gain access to a few other abilities. For example, after you finish a Fear and Fury, you can throw another zone, which has hyper armor. You can throw a light, which is really, really quick. You can throw an unblockable heavy called your Bloody Wrath. We'll get into Bloody Wrath in a minute. That's the third category. That's the third thing. But again, we'll come back to that. But the other big thing about Fear and Fury is that it's a deflect capable move. That's right, this hero can deflect. Been a while since we had one of those that could do that, huh? But that's right, this hero is capable of deflecting, and they can deflect from any directional attack just with Fear and Fury. That's right, you don't have to match the direction of the attack, whether it's from the right, left, or above. You can deflect it with Fear and Fury, and from that you can do a light attack, you can do your Bloody Wrath attack, or I think you can even do a zone attack. I don't remember, I didn't get to test it out to find out, and someone in the comments will correct me, I'm sure. So honestly, Fear and Fury is really, really sick, and the fact that you can soft feint into it makes it that much stronger, and the fact that it doesn't matter what direction the enemy's attack is coming from makes it so much easier to go into. I recall accidentally doing deflects quite a few times thanks to this, so it's a really nice feature. But that does lead into the third and final ability that really stood out to me about the Khatun, and that is Bloody Wrath. If the Fear and Fury dash forward is the meat of this character, then the Bloody Wrath is the potatoes. Meat and potatoes, I'm really hungry now. Yeah, I'm getting off topic. Anyway, Bloody Wrath is very unique. I would compare it to Pirate's Walk the Plank ability. It's an unblockable pinning, binding attack, which, if it lands, grants access to different things that you can do after it. Think about Pirate. When she lands a Walk the Plank, she can either just kick you away from her and get a potential wall splat, or she can shoot you in the face. Here, you got that in a bag of chips. What she can basically do is when she lands her Bloody Wrath, if she lands it, you get a brief moment where the bind is active, or you can decide what you want to do next. You can do a light attack, which will slash them across the face and you get a little bit of extra damage. You can do a second heavy attack, which is not only unblockable, but it will do a lot more damage and impale them as you pull back. Or you can let them go, they'll fumble backwards, and they will crash into a wall if it's behind them, and you get another free heavy. I think you can also do a zone off of it, but again, I don't remember. I didn't get to play as much as I would like, and my notes are a little incomplete. Again, someone will let me know in the comments, I guarantee it. But what I think is so neat about this is not only all the things it can do, but how you can access it. This isn't something you do after the end of a combo. You only get to it a few ways. Number one, you can get to it from a guard break. If you guard break someone successfully, you can perform a Bloody Wrath. If you parry someone, you can perform a Bloody Wrath by hitting the heavy attack, but I will warn you, it's not guaranteed if it's just a heavy parry. So if you parry a heavy attack, you can perform a Bloody Wrath, but they can dodge it, so keep that in mind. And you can also perform it from a Fear and Fury if you hit the heavy attack button. So there are a few ways to get into the Bloody Wrath, and I also remember that their fourth feat allows them to perform a Bloody Wrath automatically. That's all I remember about the feats. Don't ask me anything else about the feats. I don't remember them. I feel so bad about this video, guys. I wish that I knew more. I wish that I had more information to give you guys. But c'est la vie, that is the way that the cookie crumbles, as the saying goes. But overall, I thought that these abilities were so unique. Now, I will preface by saying this. With Sohei, I think the problem with Sohei was he was one of the most unique heroes to ever hit the game. His fighting style and abilities were so unique and so original. I absolutely loved him, despite the fact that he was a little bit weak. He was a little bit weak coming out. I think he's a lot better now, but he was weak coming out. Now, this hero, Khatun, actually feels really, really special. She's not quite as unique as Sohei, but she still feels strong, pretty fun to play from what I remember, and also not too oppressive. I'll be honest, when I did try her out in one 4v4 match, I found myself not being able to just blow through enemies like I thought. Sometimes when a new hero comes out, like Aphira or Ocelot or Medjai, you can just blow through the bots in like any match and just, you know, you just feel really good about it. With her, I didn't do that. It was a lot more complex. You really do have to get a hang of her soft feint capabilities, her Fear and Fury, and her Bloody Wrath. You can't just go, all right, light, heavy, unblockable, 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 unblockable. You can't just throw the same move over and over. You have to think with her. You have to actually, like, for example, take Warmonger. This is a really good example. Warmonger or Raider have easy access to their unblockables, and they can just hurl those all day long with their mix-ups. This character, you just can't do that. I mean, you could try, but odds are pretty good your opponent, if they're at all intelligent, which I'm not, so hey, you can do this to me, will figure out what you're doing and be able to counter you. I don't think you can do that easily with Khatun. Based on what I remember and what I felt as I played her, she was a character that required a lot more brain power than I would have ever expected. She has a higher learning curve, but that's kind of what I was looking for in this game. I want a character that isn't just, oh, well, I'll just pick up this and win, like Hitsukiri. I want a character that actually makes me try, makes me work to learn her capabilities so that when I actually get wins, it feels earned. And I think they succeeded with that in Khatun. Now, there's a lot more to her kit. There's a lot more to her feats, and I highly recommend checking out players like Havok, Freeze, John DeLiner, A Break and Run, and all these other really great content creators who are going to go into deep detail on everything about her and talk about what's great and what's bad about her. But from this Raven's perspective, from this gamer's perspective, based on the limited amount of time I had with the character in the early access, and all I can remember and all that I felt when I played her, I actually really enjoyed her. I had a great time playing her. I had a great time getting to try her out. I can't wait till she goes live, and she should go live the day after I release this video, so hey, that's awesome. So I'm really, really excited to get her. Now, I will also say, again, since I am making this before the Warriors Den, I don't know what all else will say in the Warriors Den. I know that there were a few minor patch notes, like, for example, Raiders getting a slight buff to his attacks. Not much, just slight damage buff numbers. I know that Berserker's getting a bit of a slowdown to his dodge. They're making his dodge a little bit slower, and they're also changing an overall, dash forward attack for some of the characters. If I recall correctly, and someone correct me if I'm wrong on this, but one major change they're making to some of the characters is for Aramusha, Berserker, Highlander, Shinobi, and Tiandi, I think those are the characters, they have a dodge forward heavy, and they're making it so that they can be guard broken out of that only during the first 100 milliseconds of the move, which is less than what it used to be at 433 milliseconds, because they wanted to make it harder for them to be punished just for doing their dodge forward heavy attack. So I think that that was the only other change that I can think of. If there were any other changes and stuff that I missed, again, check out the other content creators I missed, and I will release a video later explaining all the stuff that I missed, and I am very sorry that I didn't get to talk about it. But again, I really wanted to get this out because, hey, you know, the winter storm on the way, I don't know what all I'll be able to do, and I wanted you guys to get to see this so that it would come out and you guys would know that I did get early access. And guys, I want to say this. The big reason I'm making this video isn't just to share with you guys my thoughts on Khatun, although there is a lot to say. I wanted to also make this video because it just shows how much I appreciate all of you. My fans for continuing to support me, Havok for having my back and helping to get me the footage that I needed to help keep this video going, and Ubisoft for giving me early access in the first place. They had no way of knowing this would happen. I didn't know that this would all happen, but they still gave it to me, which shows that they have faith in me, and that is just really special, and it fills me up, and I am so honored and pleased to be able to make videos like this. So thank you all so much. You guys, Havok, Ubisoft, thank you all so much for this opportunity you've given me and for the chance for me to make videos like this. It means the world to me. I'm getting a little choked up. Oh man, I've been going too long. I apologize. So, final thoughts, wrap it all up. Here's what I have to say. Mongol Mommy feels awesome. I think she's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to enjoy playing her. She's going to be something very unique to the game. I'm really, really excited to see her come out. She is just such a cool looking hero. She's got really cool lore. The inspiration behind her is solid. I think she's going to be great. And if I missed anything about her kit or about her movesets, and I know I probably did miss a few things, I didn't even talk about her feats, let me know down in the comments section, or you can go check out someone else's video who's going to talk a lot more about it, but I did want to get this out for you guys. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. And as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care.